Hi everyone, Knoxville News Sentinel basketball beat writer Mike Wilson, joined here by columnist John Adams and the Tennesseans' esteemed Joe Rexrode. We're here to recap Tennessee's, I'm not really sure what to describe, but season-ending loss to Purdue that was frantic, wild, crazy, blowout for a minute, and then right back. What were your guys' thoughts leaving this game and how everything went?
John?
Well, you know, when I first looked at this bracket, I thought Tennessee was going to the Final Four, but I really didn't realize how good Purdue was. I mean, it's a really good team. They play their role so well, and they just dominated Tennessee in that first half. I didn't think that would happen, and it was a great comeback, but it was just too much. I think it took too much out of Tennessee. They didn't have anything left.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, look, I mean, the bottom line is I think Tennessee, one more stop, one more play, and they close that game out. And of course, the last play, the foul, heavily contested. Rick Barnes said it was a foul. I think it was. It was not a lot of a foul, but he got hip to hip on him. But Ryan Klein and those threes late, and there were a couple times when Tennessee helped off him. You don't help off him an inch when he's shooting like that. But that kid he saved Purdue from maybe losing this game by 12. Because that's the way things were going, and it was like I haven't seen many players in his zone to that extent. So you gotta give him credit, because I thought Lamonte Turner actually did a great job at Carson Edwards, and I thought we saw tonight Carson Edwards, very talented, very capable, but also capable of hurting his team with some of the decisions he makes out there.
Yeah, Lamonte Turner saw a lot of himself in Carson Edwards in that respect.
Right.
Yeah, I thought Carson Edwards did a good job though of backing off in the second half. In the first half, he threw up a couple of horrible shots he shouldn't have taken from three-point range. But when Klein got hot, he kind of went in the shadows a little bit and let him take over, and he did just that.
I think one of the challenging questions is, what's the legacy of this Tennessee basketball team? Didn't win any tangible titles, tied the school record for most wins in a single season. How do you evaluate this season?
Well, I still think that this group gets credit for the championship from last year, so yes, that's still on
this particular season.
Yeah, but this particular season, you know, I mean, look, it's one of the greatest basketball teams in Tennessee history. There's no question. Fantastic ride, fantastic group. That you know, and that's part of it too, is who these people were. I think this was a much-needed tonic for Tennessee fans, and all that stuff is true. But yeah, they will be remembered for just coming up short. You know, in several instances when, even though they got blown out by Auburn in the SEC title game, that felt like a championship when they beat Kentucky. Obviously, the Auburn loss in the regular season, and then this one, it could have been much different. This team was good enough to be in the Final Four and do damage there, but that's the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I really thought Tennessee needed a little more help from its bench offensively. It's just not quite there. Purdue got a little bit more offensively from its bench, and Tennessee just doesn't really have that. Other than it's got Jordan Bowden, of course, but other than that, those guys aren't scoring threats.
Now, obviously, a lot of faces are going to change here. Admiral Schofield gone, Kyle Alexander, Brad Woodson, Lucas Campbell, those walk-ons gone as well. Grant Williams, Jordan Bone have decisions to make. Thoughts on what might happen next for those two guys?
I was going to ask you this. You're supposed to tell us what they're going to do.
You know, we asked both of them after the game what the thoughts are. Neither want to talk about it predictably. Yeah. I think both would be wise to go through the process.
I agree.
I don't think there's any harm. I think Admiral Schofield found that out last year. I think he can give them that advice. But it could be interesting. Tennessee basketball could have up to 4 people at the draft combine in May if Kyle Alexander gets in there as well as a pro prospect. So that would be quite a statement for this program, I think, of where Rick Barnes has it. But yeah, to me, it makes sense for both of those guys to consider that.
You know, I agree. I think that they should, they will, and my guess is they'll both be back, but you never know.
I really think they'll come back. I just don't think they're going to be that great of an NBA prospect. I'm not saying they won't do well in the NBA when they get there. It's just really hard to tell with Grant Williams' game how that can translate. I mean, Joe talked about comparing him to Draymond Green. He covered him, and that's a good comparison. But you just don't know how these guys will do at that next level.
Agreed. Yeah. That's all from us here at the Yum Center, KFC Yum Center.
Glad I won't have to write that again.
Oh, mercy.
Oh, you used the exclamation point, right?
Yeah, I did.
Right, very good.
Way to get that right. That's all from us this season. That's a wrap on Tennessee basketball. Quite a run, but it came to an end tonight in the Sweet 16 against Purdue.